Welcome back to Cards and Comics, and today I have a very special box break and a little bit of a hobby talk as while we're doing this. But the box itself is Leaf Baseball from 1998, and this box is pretty cool because this set is pretty much one of the forgotten sets, of the 90s, and it's a really cool set because it has a lot of stuff going on. And that's really what made collectors kind of tune out because it has so much going on, they just couldn't understand it. But the big thing to think about is this set has one of the runs of Crusades in it, which was an unannounced insert. Now, the issue with the set is that, this is the Fractal Matrix cards. And they were kind of confusing, right? So you had the regular Fractal Matrix with varied to numbering, depending on the card itself. Then you had the Diamond Axis cards, which were numbered to 50. But you also had inserts like State Representatives, numbered to 5,000, Heading for the Hall, 3,500. Statistical Standouts, 2,250, and then Statistical Standouts die cuts to 250. And again, Crusades, right? So now if you get down, so you had these gold, bronze, silver, different die cuts, different axis. And that just everyone got a little kind of like what are they, and and you also had the different styles. So you had the gold leaf stars, you had the curtain calls. So a lot of different cards that looked like inserts that were just part of the base set. The gold leaf rookies. So the way the Fractal Matrix set worked, so you either had a bronze, silver, or gold foil. And then they were die cut based on what axis it was. So every axis had a different die cut, right? So you could have a X, Y, or Z axis and a gold, silver, or bronze for the same card. Die cuts aren't serial numbered. Again, why everyone doesn't understand what the hell is going on, because it's serial number anything. So you have to read everything. So the way it works is this. If you have an X axis, bronze, if you have a regular one, it's 1,600. If it's a die cut, it's 400. If it's a Y, it's 1,800 regular, 200 die cut. If it's a Z, there's 100 die cuts. So the thing that's made this set really goofy was the die cuts have the same amount no matter if it's gold, silver, bronze. So if you have a Z-axis gold die cut, there's as many of those as there is bronze for the same card. However, the gold cards are shorter print in total. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you really want to get down to it, a gold card is rarer than a bronze card unless it's die cut. Then they have the same amount. It's just kind of dumb. So that was one of the reasons that it also never caught on. Now you had the diamond axis, and these cards were kind of blue foil and numbered to 50. And those are I think the ones that everyone kind of shoots for out of here because they're numbered, right? Then you had the regular insert. So we'll get into it, and obviously the big thing here is the Crusades, and I think the Crusades, were, something that people don't know, much about them in terms of, unless you really research them, you don't know that they were, inserted in multiple sets. They were unannounced. But if you go to the 98 Crusade set, there was 30 cards in Leaf, 30 cards in Donner's Update, and 30 cards in Leaf Rookie and Stars. We're going to looking for a Crusade, seeing if we get any of the any of the cool number to 50 Matrix cards and die cuts, and we'll see what we get. So there should be some cool stuff in here. I've never opened a box of this, and so the opening of this video experience of the Tool concert. I want to say anyone who loves heavy music or or just, used to love Tool. I was not a big believer in, Tool, its newest, album. I just kind of, after Lateralis, I was kind of lost a little bit for me. But now that I've really listened to the music live and I've gained more appreciation for it, it's a good album. I was really afraid that they were going to kind of mail it in, play like one song for 25 minutes and play nothing off of older records and just be kind of like, them kind of just doing what, doing something just for them. you know, to me, like, you got to do both. You got to, like, you know, do something for the fans and play the music you want to play as well. Kind of give and take. And these guys were so tight. They went out and played a great set. I mean, I think the second song in, they played Opiate, you know, band. Great sound, cool stage show. It's definitely worth, if you got a chance to see them. It made a believer out of me. I was actually pretty much like on the fence, and then I went with a friend, and I was glad I did. So, really cool concert experience. We'll see what we get. So, starting one. So, again, I've never opened a box of these. I have no clue what this is going to look like. And here we go. And the base cards aren't much. I mean, I'd say like back in the day, there's some gold stamping, but pretty thin cardboard, and they're just not, you know, I would call it as visually pleasing as other cards. So here's our first Gold Leaf rookie. It is Levon Hernandez, who was a really good player. For a while, anyway. Here we go. So this is Mike Cameron. I'm just kind of going through these fast because there's a lot of packs. And yeah, so there you go. That's what the base cards look like. Again, you know, the base cards weren't anything special until you got something that was bronze, silver, whatever, and die cut. So I'm assuming we'll get something out of a pack so we can see all that stuff. You know, what all that stuff was about, because it was something that they did. I mean, this was like a big deal. You know, this set was supposed to be like their answer to Topps Finest to some extent, from, you know, to have like these variations. And so you're going to do a die cut, we'll just do 3 die cuts, and we'll do all kinds of different die cut stuff. And, you know, it's kind of like a one-upmanship was really rampant in the hobby at this time. So, there was Sammy Sosa, cool card at the time. Here, Martinez, a checklist, Pedro. There we go. We haven't hit anything yet. So, again, a lot of packs in these old boxes. I believe this is a 24-packer. But yeah, like, you know, I do feel like these kind of boxes, you just don't see them get broke open anymore because, you know, it's just like the cards aren't as cool. I think, you know, because people just don't, you know, don't respect the Fractal Matrix cards. It's, like I said, it's so confusing. Like, why do they make the die cuts all the same number? I mean, you know, why not make like the golds numbered out of 10? You know, versus the bronze, which are numbered out of 100. Like 150, 10 would have been a perfect set. Pulled a gold, you know, a gold die cut, you know, it's numbered out of 10. People would have been like, that's awesome. Those cards rule. We'll want to try to find them, but no, they just made them all the same. So, you know, it just kind of took away some of the specialness from the set, in my opinion. So, okay, Mark Grace. I think this is Jeffrey Hammond. So, David Justice. So, again, nothing too special with the base set. Haven't hit anything big yet. Haven't hit anything yet, really. The Gold Leaf rookie card was a short print. So there is short prints in the set. And they're not, the short prints in the set are not, you know, like overly special. They're the, you know, like the cards that look like inserts, but they're not. It's like the Gold Leaf rookies, the Gold Leaf stars, the curtain calls, all look like inserts, but they're just part of the base set. They're just short printed. So, and they're, you know, like stated odds. I'll have to look to see if they're like 1 in 3, something like that. So every third pack you get one of those, you know, kind of short prints. So, all right. Yeah, I'm not going to bother flipping unless I look to see a Griffey card or something. No, Jose Cruz Jr. At least a lot of money on that guy. That early hobby money is tougher when you lose it because, like, later on you get used to losing money on prospects and, you know, stuff like that. But when you were younger, you thought this guy can't miss, and then he missed. You know, you're like, how'd that happen? You know, like, why did everyone think he was so great? And then, you know, you realize like, oh, well, so Ripken, hey, base Ripken. Canseco, that, yeah, the prospects miss a majority of the time. And I would even say this is like most prospects, even if they do hit, like let's say they play for 10 to 15 years, they're a 2 or 3 time All-Star, they don't make the Hall of Fame, their rookie cards are still worth nothing for the most part. So, you know, there's a lot of great players out there who just never became Hall of Fame worthy, and that makes, you know, a lot of you know, this whole thing really tough. Is like, you know, that's a, you know, for most of the baseball, they'd say that was a very successful career, and as a hobbyist, you'd say that guy was a failed prospect. So, all right, so here's our first insert, state representatives, Cleveland. So these have some foil etching on them, so they're very nice looking. You know, they just didn't mail it in completely. These are numbered out of 5,000. So again, there is no odds on any of these inserts, which is another thing too. They didn't put odds on anything. So like you just got one of these every so often. You know, there's no way to know what you're supposed to get out of a box here. Another thing that hurt this set as well, you know, no real stated print odds except for the short prints. But numbered at 5,000, Jim told me. It's a cool card. I'm digging that. So we'll put that down here. One card, at least numbered, in the box. That's better than you get in some modern sets, right? You know, like Topps, you might open up five boxes of Topps and I can pull anything numbered in modern cards. So don't think it's getting so much better that you won't get screwed in modern cards either, because you definitely will. So, you know, on, you know, what's going on? I know next week there's this, you know, big show. So, you know, in Atlanta, I believe. So good luck to everyone going for that. I wish you could go, but I cannot. So this is interesting. So I think this is just a regular card. Yeah. So this is the, or not a regular card, but this is the gold star. So this is another Jim Thome card, but this is just a short print. So that's just a short print card. So nothing big there. Yeah, and so I just did a video on my Marvel cards that I got from, so this is another short print that I just got in from Check Out My Cards. And so I did a live break on it where I didn't have my sound on because I'm an idiot. So that was really sad. Then I just did a recap video, so that should be out probably before this video comes out. So hopefully you check that out. And here's something here. So let's see what we got there. So it's kind of fun. I mean, I'm getting a few hits here. Let's see, not numbered. So this is, again, another just short print. And let's see what we got here. So it's gold leaf stars, and this is the Tony Gwynn. So 2 gold leaf stars. So yeah, like, yeah, like, obviously, you know, if you're going to those shows, and you know, I think one thing that's happening, you know, so I'll talk about Marvel cards a little bit, but I'll talk about shows itself. You know, last year there was just, you know, people like dying to get to shows and really wanting to, you know, make the circuit and go to the multiple shows. And there's like guys out there like traveling to a show every week or every month, you know, and going to different states. I'm like, that's cool, man. Like, I love that passion. But for me, you know, that's something that's just, it's a huge, like, time issue for me. So like, here's an Andrew Jones state representative. So our second one in the box, and these are numbered to 5,000. So we got Thome and Andrew Jones. So back in the day, this would have been at least 2 guys that were fun. But the guy, you know, so I think everyone doing this is awesome. And you know, there's a lot of people talking about it, and it's like, but it reminds me a lot of last year, where it's like, okay, you know, forget, it was like basketball and Luka was hot, and there was, you know, and now it's like Marvel cards, right? So I just told you I got those Marvel cards in. I sold some PMGs, and it's just like everyone's talking about Marvel, and I'm like, this is just the next big thing, guys. I mean, it's like when F1 was hot, soccer was like, there is some sustaining here. I think some of these cards are great cards, just in general, that you're going to have people wanting to collect these cards. But I also don't think everyone is going to. Ooh, there's a Frank Thomas base card, so I'll put that aside just because I like it. Right behind Coward. I just don't think everyone's going to just drop everything they're doing and just start collecting Marvel cards if they don't really like, Marvel. So here's the Gold Leaf Rookie Curtain Call design. This is why I just feel like, what the 90s really did was they went all in on some things, but some things just mailed in. So this original set, had gold foil on them, and they got gold foil here. Why can't you make the original design all gold foil like it was done originally? Why cheap out? It just, feels like they did it a lot. Like, like they could make something really special, and they chose just to go kind of halfway, and that's definitely, like these Gold Leaf Rookies, like in the background was kind of like foil, and they just didn't do it. They was like, we don't need to put this much money in this set. I get it. Everyone went bankrupt like within a year, so. But yeah. So like, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on Marvel cards, and I hope people don't take it like I'm just saying, wow, get off my lawn. I love Marvel cards. Like you can see, I have a ton of them, right? But when you're talking about the newest thing, what you get into is people who never bought a Marvel card starts looking for the cards. And they don't really care, anything about them, right? So that's, it's one thing. And then, so here's a 90 Frank Thomas card. I don't know what this thing is. So I guess this is a curtain call. So I guess a callback to older cards. So it's kind of cool. So but you got all these people, and if you think about it, like when F1 soccer, basketball were doing this with these new dealers, is on their table is going to be tons of $5,000 PMGs and all these cards because, they want to have expensive cards that people that are hot right now. They don't care what it is. I mean, if it was ballerinas, cricket cards, doesn't matter, like they just want the hottest cards at the show because they want to be able to buy and sell quick. And so they're just looking for volume and speed. And so it's just like it creates a false kind of environment that everyone thinks like, oh, well, everyone's collecting Marvel cards. So it's the newest thing. And I don't want to be left behind. And I think you just gotta just look at it from a perspective like, in 5 years, are you going to be really wanting to have those cards in your collection? The answer is yes. And by all means, go out and get some Marvel cards that are awesome because I like them. But if you're just doing it because you want to have what's cool right now, they're not going to be cool forever. And at some point, something else will be cooler. And you'll be like, well, now I got all these Marvel cards, and then they might go down in value. And then you'll be like, I wish I hadn't bought these Marvel cards because now they're down a little bit and I can't sell them, and it's kind of a bummer. And that's what's going to happen to some of them because some of them are not going to be as cool as others. But what I want to tell you guys, I don't spend a lot of time on Marvel cards, but I'm going to say like, it's very character driven, right? It's not just character driven, it's character design. I tell people all the time, I'm like, why do you like Spider-Gwen? She's not really had any great stories. Not been around that long. But people like the design of the character, right? And so what the character looks like, Harley Quinn's a great example. Until recently, her stories were pretty terrible. One good story that wasn't really about her. Everything else has been really just mediocre to crappy. And then she got into some really good stories lately. And then, the animated series is amazing. But again, like the character design was awesome. And that's what people like because they could cosplay. And that's the thing is like in comic book world, aesthetics matter. Like what the character looks like, what they wear. Is it a popular cosplay, thing? Is it something that, so it's not about reading the character, having, the character be cool in the comics. It's like, what's the character look like? So when you look at all these other characters that, no one really cares about, buying their PMGs or collecting their cards is just like commons in baseball, right? They're not going to be worth anything. So don't waste your time on these kind of like common characters that aren't going to be worth anything in the future. I'm just, as FYI, there's a lot of those out there. So not every comic book card is worth something. Not every card is worth investing into. Even if it's a gold, green, whatever have you, PMG, whatever you want to say. Keep in mind that, you know, very few people want some of those cards long term, you know, for those characters. Like, you know, some of those characters are just terrible. You know, they're not good characters. So, you know, so you have to be buying the right characters. And then look at the design of the set, look at the design of the character, what it looks like in this set. You know, the character designs change a lot, and sometimes people don't like certain stylistic choices of the artist. And so, you know, if the card is of a character that looks really weird or not the traditional way the character looks, it could affect the value. So long term, as you know, collectors are very fickle, and they'll be like, I don't want that PMG because it has the gold costume instead of the blue costume. And screw that. You know, I want Wolverine in his old costume, not his new costume. Oh, this has got Wolverine in his, you know, old man Logan, you know, disguise. I want that because that's the character I like the best. So people are pretty fickle. Just keep that in mind too. All right. So we haven't hit anything great as we wind our way through a lot of just short prints, but nothing, you know, no die cuts, no golds. I mean, this is, I didn't open a lot of this. So if this was what a box was typically like, where you just didn't get crap, for, you know, like in every, you know, like where every box didn't have at least one Fractal Matrix card or something like that. I can see where people just gave up because, like, man, I'm not opening 5 boxes to pull a card that nobody really cares about nowadays. So we'll see. I mean, I was expecting at least one, like a bronze card maybe. So nothing yet. Again, you know, I just feel like, you know, like this set, and I could see, you know, why, you know, when I first looked at this out, I was like, man, there's a lot of interesting cards and a lot of, you know, things that could be cool in here. But then I'm like, they may have overprinted this to where you just don't get anything out of a normal box, and people just kind of gave up trying to get the cool stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this seems like what that is. Like, this just doesn't seem like something that I would want to bust, you know, like 50 boxes trying to get the cool short print, you know, the gold or bronze, whatever. Because you remember, like, Topps put like 1 gold card in every box, you know, like a couple silvers and a bronze. And if we're opening a whole box and getting nothing, I think people are going to be like, yeah, I'm not feeling this, to keep busting multiple boxes. Even if you had a chance at a Crusade, it's just, to me, not worth it. So here is the first kind of like Fractal Matrix. So we got a Fractal Matrix. So I guess this is why they didn't do the foil on the gold leaf rookies, because you got the Fractal Matrix version of it. So here is a bronze Luis Ordaz Fractal Matrix gold leaf rookie. And again, so going by the numbers here, the way every, you know, card number 193. And so this is a bronze, and then so bronze x-axis. So this is 1,600 of these were made. So this is a card that has 1,600 made, and no one cares about it, right? It's not too bad of a looking card, just foil. Again, you know, it looks cool with that, you know, you know, embossing there. So, I mean, yeah, there you go. It's not numbered. Again, you know, I can see why this set got left in the dust. It's got cool stuff in it, but it looks like everything is really hard to get outside of, you know, this one bronze card. Oh, there's something numbered here. All right, so now that bad mouth in the set is starting to pay off. So here we go. It's a Derek Jeter card. Wow, look at this. Hey, look at that. Statistical standout Derek Jeter. Now bad mouth the set, and it pays off. And this one is actually numbered at 2,500. Look at that. All right. Well, there you go. That's a cool card. Now, second to last pack mojo there. Wow. All right. That's a cool. I've never had one of these cards. Honestly, I've never had this card. I know there's, you know, they've done this set a few times, so I've never had this version of the set. And that's a really cool card. Wow. I'm really excited about that card. And I do a lot of Jeter. It's not my major collection, but I do some Jeters. So that's a cool card. So there we go. Well, one Fractal Matrix card, couple of numbered inserts. So there you go. Maybe not quite as doom and gloom as I was thinking, but obviously pulling a Jeter card like that, it's going to be like making you change your mind on what the set is doing for you. Last card here looks like just a short print. So, whoa, look at that. There we go. So this is definitely a different kind of Fractal Matrix in this card. So we're going to go to the little list here. So card number 142. So this is like almost like a super fractor type finish. So, and it's different than this one. So let's see if this is a different axis. That's maybe why it's a different kind of foil. So this is card number 142. And that says card number 142 is... Nope. It says Lance Johnson is a bronze X-axis. So again, they were on a 16, so maybe since it's a different just part of the set, they didn't give it that base foil like this card. But that's a cool looking card. I do think that's a cool looking card. So 2 bronzes out of the box. Again, based on what we're seeing, these would both be out of 1600. And then we got this out of 2500 Derek Jeter. Obviously the coolest hit in the box. And then 2 numbered out of 5000 state representative. So there you go. That's a box of 1998 Leaf. Because the biggest question I have is what I open another box. So if a typical box had 2 of these, 1 of those, 2 of these, and maybe a die cut, then I think I probably would open another box. Because again, there's Crusades in here. Crusades are insanely hard to get from what I've seen, because I've opened a couple boxes of just Donruss Series 1, looking for the Griffey, and never got one. So I think you have to open up like a lot of boxes to get a Crusade. So, but these boxes aren't too cheap either, because obviously you can hit some cards that are pretty expensive in here, just based on the rarity. So there it is, guys. There is one box of 98 Leaf. And maybe I'll do all the card. I'll do the update, do the Donruss, do the Stars and Rookies, looking for the Leaf cards, or sorry, the Crusade cards. But my Crusade hunt is on, and hopefully I can get one in the next box. And I'll see you next time.